Listen up, because the streets have been whispering, the blog's been buzzing, and now the whole internet is locked in on one question. Why is 21 Savage's name suddenly spinning in the middle of Lil Baby's homie drama? This ain't no mild rumor. This is the type of tension that makes cities shake and crews start looking over their shoulders. For weeks, little hints have been slipping through the cracks. Secret calls, old footage popping back up, and insiders claiming there's way more to this situation than anybody wants to admit. And now, the silence just broke. Loud, violent, unavoidable. People are saying alliances were never what they looked like. That loyalty wasn't loyalty, it was business. And that somebody behind the scenes finally cracked under pressure. And somehow, someway, 21's name got pulled into the storm. Whether he wanted it or not, the spotlight is on him now, and everybody wants answers. This ain't just rap news. Nah, this is the politics of the streets. This is reputation. This is respect. And when respect is questioned, that's when beef turns real. That's when friends become suspects. That's when every move gets replayed, frame by frame, because the truth always leaks. Eventually, so buckle up. Because today we're diving deep past the tweets, past the rumors, past the lies, and straight into the heart of a feud that might reshape how these crews move from here on out. The game has been too quiet lately, and the real ones know silence is never peace. It's pressure. Pressure that builds slow, steady, and dangerous until something snaps. So loud, the whole culture has to stop and look. And right now, that snap is here. Because somehow, someway, 21 Savage's name just got dragged into a situation connected to one of Lil Baby's closest homies. And nobody can figure out why. Not the OGs. Not the fans. Not even the people who usually stay out of everybody's business. Everybody's watching because this ain't normal. This ain't random. This got purpose written all over it. See? Nothing in rap beef happens by accident. There's always a chain reaction. Little moments. Old tension. A look someone didn't like. A rumor left unchecked. A move that wasn't explained. And for the last few months, Atlanta has been buzzing with this weird energy. Like alliances are shifting. Trust is thin. And someone behind the scenes is playing a long game. Then, out of nowhere, a situation involving one of Lil Baby's Day One friends comes back up. A situation that never fully died, just sat in the shadows waiting for the wrong time to resurface. And the moment it does, boom, 21 Savage's name is suddenly floating around. It like someone dropped it there on purpose. But here's where it gets wild. Nobody's pointing fingers directly. Nobody's giving details. It's all whispers, hints. You know what they said, right? Did you hear what really happened? It's that kind of tension. The kind where the truth is blurry on purpose. The kind where someone wants smoke without admitting it. The kind that starts wars. Insiders started reaching out to each other immediately. Phones ringing. People asking questions they don't normally ask. Managers calling OGs like, yo, what's this about? Bodyguards hearing things they were never supposed to hear. People in both camps are trying to figure out the same thing. Who dragged 21 Savage into this? And what's their motive? Because 21 doesn't move messy. He doesn't get involved in other people's street issues. He stays quiet, calculated, low-key. If his name is in the air, someone put it there. That rumor, that tiny little spark hit the internet like a gasoline bomb. Suddenly, there's TikTok clips breaking down evidence, YouTubers digging up old videos, Twitter trying to connect dots that might not even exist. It's like people want this to be bigger than it is. They want drama. They want suspense. They want the idea of 21 and Lil Baby's circles clashing, even though nobody knows the real story. But that's the dangerous part. When the truth gets drowned out by the noise, what most fans don't know is that Lil Baby and 21 Savage been cool publicly. But public cool ain't the same as behind-the-scenes alignment. Behind the cameras, there's politics. There's history between crews that never gets talked about. There's loyalty agreements nobody signs but everybody respects. And from the way this situation is unfolding, it feels like somebody violated an unspoken rule by throwing 21's name into something that was never his issue in the first place. And trust me, somebody noticed. The moment the rumor hit major platforms. People close to 21 started tightening up, not posting, not reacting, not giving the internet anything to twist. But behind closed doors, they're making calls, quiet calls. The kind you make only when something serious might be brewing, because 21's brand is huge right now. Global, respected, clean, and the last thing he needs is his name linked to a street situation that could turn into heat from the law, heat from other crews, or heat from Lil Baby's side. Meanwhile, on Lil Baby's end, things ain't normal either. Some faces that used to be around him all the time ain't there anymore. Some people are suddenly real quiet online. Some people get asked questions and refuse to answer them. And that situation involving his homie, people bring it up again like they've been waiting for permission to talk. None of this is coincidence. These are tremors before an earthquake. Old videos began resurfacing. studio sessions, interviews, background moments where someone said something small but meaningful. There's talk about a disagreement years ago that never got resolved. A backstage moment at a show that fans forgot about but insiders never did. A conversation between camps that didn't end well. Individually, these moments don't mean anything. But when the internet connects them, now suddenly everything looks linked. And the streets, listen, the streets are hungry. They want the truth. They want to know, is someone lying? Is someone covering something? Or is someone finally exposing something that was supposed to stay buried forever? Because the truth in hip-hop is rarely simple. Most of the time, it's two things at once. A lie wrapped in a truth wrapped in someone's personal agenda. And nothing creates more tension than a truth someone doesn't want out. People are asking the dangerous questions now. Why now? Who benefits from dragging 21 into this? Is somebody from Baby's side trying to shift the narrative? Is someone from 21's past connected to this situation in ways nobody expected? Is an old alliance cracking? Or is someone just clout chasing and accidentally started something way bigger than they can control? The wildest part is that both camps know exactly how dangerous this can get. Because in Atlanta, when the names of two top artists start crossing paths in street conversations, even indirectly, you don't take that lightly. That's power on power, influence on influence. Fans on fans. Money, reputation, respect. All at stake. And right now, both sides are moving like they know something's about to break. Something real. Something big. Something nobody can spin once it hits daylight. This isn't just rumor territory anymore. This is the early stage of real friction. The kind that can reshape how crews move. Who links with who, and who stops appearing together altogether. And what's craziest? This is just the beginning. The real truth, the part nobody's ready for, hasn't even come out yet. By the time the rumors started spreading like wildfire, everybody who mattered in Atlanta already heard about it. Not because of the blogs, not because of the gossip pages, but because the streets started moving different. People started looking at each other twice. Conversations started cutting short when certain names were mentioned. You could feel the discomfort in the room, the way you feel humidity before a storm. Something was coming, and nobody wanted to be standing in the wrong spot when it hit. Lil Baby's circle ain't the type to panic publicly. They move smart, tight, and loyal. But even in that loyalty, there was confusion. Somebody said something they weren't supposed to. Somebody let 21's name slip somewhere it had no business being. And once that happened, it didn't matter if it was true or not. Perception became reality. That's the scary part of the rap world. Truth is slow. Rumors fly. And when a rumor flies into a camp like 21's, believe me, people start watching closely. His team noticed the shift instantly. Somebody from their side said it straight up. This ain't random. The tone changed. The silence turned strategic, because when you've built a brand as clean and respected as 21's, you can't afford even a shadow of street drama attached to your name, especially not one connected to a crew as powerful as Lil Baby's. Behind the scenes, conversations got tense, calls between people who normally don't talk, messages being checked twice, everyone trying to figure out the origin of the rumor, not the details, the origin, because in the industry, knowing who started something is more important than knowing what they said. The who tells you whether the situation is petty or intentional, whether it's gossip or a setup, whether you should ignore it, clap back, or prepare for something bigger. Whether you should ignore it, clap back, or prepare for something bigger. Then came the first sign that something was off. Somebody in Lil Baby's circle went quiet. Not just not posting quiet, I'm talking about completely disappearing from a few places they were always at. People noticed you can't hide your absence in the rap world. When someone who's always around suddenly isn't, that means one of two things. Either they're being protected, or they're being questioned. And the shift didn't stop there. Words started spreading that Baby himself wasn't happy about the way things were being talked about. Not because he believes 21 was involved, but because someone made it seem like Baby's team was pointing fingers. That's disrespectful. That's messy. That's the kind of thing that breaks alliances quietly, slowly, permanently, even though the public ain't seeing it. Both camps feel the tension. It's in the studio. It's in the way people speak around certain names. It's in the nervous laughs. The half-completed sentences, the "we'll talk later" comments. The quiet between two major artists can be louder than a diss track. And right now, the quiet is screaming. And while all this is going on behind the scenes, the internet only made things worse. Someone dug up an old clip where 21 mentioned loyalty in Atlanta, another clip where Lil Baby talked about not trusting everybody in the industry. People started stitching these clips together like puzzle pieces, even though none of them were connected. But that's how narratives get built, by mixing truth with imagination until the line disappears. Then a new rumor surfaced, this time even more dangerous. Someone claimed there was a disagreement between the two camps years ago. Something small but tense that was never talked about publicly. Nobody confirmed it. Nobody denied it. But the fact that nobody addressed it, that was enough. Silence adds fuel. Silence makes rumors look like truth. One detail kept coming up, that one of Baby's homies had an issue with someone connected to 21's circle in the past. Not 21 himself, not Baby himself, but someone who was connected through a third person. It wasn't even direct. But in rap beef, indirect drama can turn into direct war real fast. All it takes is one person choosing to interpret something the wrong way. Meanwhile, both camps were playing chess without ever mentioning a word publicly. 21 Savage started moving more privately. No random appearances, no unnecessary posts. Lil Baby started keeping his circle tighter than usual. It was like watching two giants move carefully around each other without ever stepping on the same path. That alone tells you how real the tension is. Everybody wants to know what the truth is, but the truth is complicated. The truth is messy, and the truth is probably spread across 5 different people who ain't ever going to sit at the same table. Some people say someone used 21's name to deflect blame. Others say someone tried to expose something old. Some claim it was a mistake. Some say it was intentional, but the one thing everyone agrees on: once a name like 21 Savage gets dragged into something, it doesn't just disappear. It sticks. It builds. It grows legs and starts running in directions nobody expected. And both sides gotta decide how they're going to deal with it before the rumor becomes something real. Lil Baby and 21 Savage never publicly beefed. They never crossed each other in a disrespectful way. They've always kept it cool. But this situation threatens the balance. The type of balance that only exists when respect is mutual. And right now, that respect is being tested by whispers nobody can control. People within the industry know the truth will eventually surface, because it always does. And when it does, somebody's going to look guilty. Somebody's going to look weak. Somebody's going to look like a liar. And once that happens, the temperature between these two Atlanta powerhouses might shift forever. This is no longer just a rumor. This is a fuse. And whether it burns slowly or explodes instantly depends on what happens next. The situation had already grown way bigger than it was supposed to. What started as a whisper turned into a conversation, then a narrative, then a full-blown storyline that the entire culture was now watching. And the craziest part, neither 21 Savage nor Lil Baby ever said a single word publicly. Not a like, not a tweet, not a subliminal bar, nothing. But sometimes silence speaks louder than a diss track. And right now, both sides were speaking volumes without saying anything. Deep down, everybody felt the shift. The air around Atlanta didn't feel the same. Studios that used to be open doors suddenly became people who normally hung around both camps couldn't do that anymore without getting questioned. Even certain DJs stopped playing both artists back to back because they didn't want to be the ones caught in the middle if things escalated. Nobody wanted to be the spark that turned speculation into war. The most concerning part wasn't the internet noise. It was the backstage energy. People close to both camps knew things had reached a point where misunderstandings could turn fatal. Miscommunication can get someone hurt faster than real beef. And that's exactly what this situation was turning into. A confusion-fueled fire waiting for the wrong person to breathe on it. And while everyone was trying to piece together where the rumor started, nobody noticed something huge happening in the background. Someone who originally mentioned 21's name suddenly backed off. Not publicly, but privately. They started distancing themselves from the narrative, shifting blame, acting like they never said anything. That right there told the insiders everything they needed to know. Someone panicked. Someone realized the mess they created was bigger than they expected. And now they wanted out before the wrong people started pointing back at them. But here's the problem with panic. When one person tries to clean up their mess, they usually make it worse. Word spread that people from Baby's side were now trying to figure out exactly who threw 21's name in the fire first. They weren't doing it to start beef, they were doing it to avoid one. Because even Lil Baby knew the consequences. Bringing 21's name into a situation publicly, especially one with street ties, could easily spiral into a misunderstanding that would ruin relationships, slow down money, and potentially turn Atlanta into a cold war zone between two of its biggest giants. Meanwhile, 21's camp wasn't sitting still either. They weren't angry, they were focused. Focused on making sure the situation didn't twist into something that painted Savage as someone he wasn't. His name holds too much weight, too much respect, too much value. You can't just toss it into the air like a rumor and expect no consequences. That's not how street credibility works. That's not how reputation works. And his team knew that if they didn't protect his image now, somebody else might try to take advantage of the situation later then. Out of nowhere, a new layer got added to the story. Someone claimed there was an issue years back. Something small, something forgotten, something neither artist ever cared about. But now it was being rewritten as tension. The internet ate it up instantly. People who weren't even around back then were suddenly experts on it. Videos started dropping. Narratives started forming. The story evolved into something way bigger than the truth. And that's when the real danger started, because when the internet builds a story, it stops needing facts. It starts writing its own reality. People began predicting that 21 Savage might respond in his music. Others claimed Lil Baby would address it in a verse. Some blogs even speculated that both artists were preparing statements. None of that was true. But the speculation alone was enough to twist the temperature between the two sides. When fans want a beef, they'll create one out of thin air inside both camps. Conversations were happening that outsiders would never hear. People wanted to know whether this situation needed addressing publicly. Should someone clear it up? Should someone deny it, or should they let it fade? But the more time passed, the less the situation felt like a rumor, and the more it felt like a test of loyalty, of respect, of how both sides handle heat without letting ego take over. At one point, someone from Baby's camp reached out quietly, not to apologize, not to explain, but to acknowledge that the situation was getting too big. That alone said everything. It wasn't a truce because there was no war. It wasn't an explanation because there was nothing to explain. It was simply recognition that a line had been crossed. Not intentionally, not maliciously, but crossed nonetheless. On the other side, someone from 21's circle responded with one simple message: "We know what's real." That sentence changed the entire direction of the tension. It told Baby's side that 21 wasn't blaming anyone. He wasn't angry. He wasn't assuming anything. He just wanted clarity. He wanted the narrative to stop running wild before it damaged relationships that never needed to be damaged in the first place. But even with that calm exchange, the rest of the world kept spinning theories like they wanted smoke. Fans thrive on chaos. The media thrives on confusion. YouTube pages thrive on fear. And anytime two big names are involved, everyone wants to be the first one to claim exclusive insider info, even if it's all lies. They don't care about the fallout. They don't care about reality. They care about clicks. And that's why this situation became so dangerous. The people involved weren't beefing, but the world around them was pushing them toward it. Little by little, though, both camps started clearing their internal circles. People who talked too loosely weren't allowed in certain rooms anymore. People who stirred drama weren't invited backstage. People who tried to escalate the issue suddenly found themselves on the outside looking in. It was a quiet cleanup. Not public, not petty, but necessary. Eventually, the truth settled in both camps the same way. This wasn't a 21 versus Baby situation. This wasn't beef. This wasn't a betrayal. This wasn't even an argument. This was a mistake. A dangerous mistake created by someone who didn't understand the weight of the names they were playing with. A mistake that almost turned into a firestorm by the end of everything. Both artists kept moving exactly how they always do. Focused, silent, and strategic. They didn't need to address anything. They didn't need to clear anything up. They understood the streets, knew the truth. The real ones always do. The fake narratives eventually fade, but one thing lingered after the smoke settled. The lesson: names like 21 Savage and Lil Baby aren't names you play with. They're names you respect. They're names with power, history, and real weight behind them. And when someone tries to use that weight for the wrong reason, the consequences ripple through the entire ecosystem, affecting people who never asked to be part of it. The story didn't end with beef. It didn't end with violence. It didn't end with drama. It ended with awareness. Both sides now watching more carefully, moving more cautiously, and understanding that even one wrong whisper can create a storm, powerful enough to shake an entire city. And even though things cooled down, the memory of how fast it heated up will stay with both camps forever. So now you see how deep this situation really runs. How one whisper turned into a storm. How 21 Savage's name and Lil Baby's circle got caught in something way bigger than a simple rumor. And trust me, what you heard today, that's barely the surface. There are still unanswered questions, hidden motives, and things the streets ain't ready to say out loud yet. But one thing's for sure, this story is far from over, and the only way you're gonna stay ahead of it is by locking in with us right here. If you're rocking with the content, if you want the truth unfiltered, if you want the real street breakdowns without the sugar, then hit that like button like you mean it. Smash that subscribe, because the next chapter in this saga might drop tomorrow, next week, or in the middle of the night, and you do not want to be late when the next piece of the puzzle hits the streets. Drop a comment right now and tell me what you think. Who started this? Who's hiding something? And who's the one playing puppet master behind all this noise? I read every comment myself. The smart takes, the wild theories, and the ones that make everybody stop and think. Turn on your notifications, because once the truth breaks wide open, I'm breaking it down right here first. Stay locked in, stay dangerous, and stay tuned. This story ain't done breathing yet.